GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show where we serve up crypto insights as sharp as that roast you've been saving for the group chat. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton, and today we are joined by legendary crypto investor and tweeter, Zeneca. In today's episode, we're going to talk about what is the meta for this cycle. Every cycle, there's a meta, and if you can catch it, you can have big gains. What's it going to be in this cycle? And where are we seeing opportunities right now? And where is Zeneca deploying capital? We're going to break down his portfolio, how he's thinking about this cycle, and how he is allocating right now. We're also going to look at his top 3 picks for short, medium, and long-term trades within this cycle, long-term being a relative term. Let me put it that way. You're gonna have to hang out to the end to hear that. Before we jump in, we are so close to 10,000 subscribers, and that is all because of you guys. If you subscribe between now and when we get to 10,000, you could win our free crypto investing masterclass. You could win Milk Road Pro and so many other prizes. So make sure you subscribe today. Also, we got to give a shout out to our friends over at Gemini. Discover Gemini, the US-based exchange built for new and advanced traders. As a special welcome gift, they are offering new customers $15 in Bitcoin just for trading. At Gemini, security is the top priority. As a licensed full reserve exchange and custodian, your assets are well protected. Plus, they offer cutting-edge security features like passkeys to keep your accounts safe. This exchange is setting the standard for compliance and innovation so you can trade with confidence. Head over to gemini.com/milkroad and start trading today to earn your $15 in Bitcoin. Sign up now and get ready to join the trading fun. Zeneca, welcome back to the show.
Good to be back. And I'm excited for this episode.
I'm very excited for this episode. Okay, let's start off with what happened in the past 2 weeks that, and I'm going to say past 2 weeks, maybe it's a little bit longer than that, that caught your attention, that made you say, okay, it's time to start deploying some capital.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned what is the meta of this cycle, and I think everyone can kind of agree that every crypto bull market is largely defined around one speculative narrative. You had ICOs in 2017, you had NFTs in 2021, and everyone is like, what's going to be the next one? And I'm pretty convinced at this point that it's meme coins. I've been bullish meme coins for a few years. I've been in and out of them for a long time. I've always held some percentage of my portfolio in them, but I decided to increase that percentage to be quite a bit more significant. Basically, after token 2049 in Singapore, there was this talk given by a guy named Murad, where he basically laid out his entire thesis for why he thinks meme coins will outperform virtually everything else this cycle. And he included evidence about how they have already outperformed basically every other asset class up until now, like throughout the entire year of 2024. And it was very convincing, very compelling. I found myself agreeing with a lot of it. And basically after that, I was like, you know what, I need to increase my allocation to memes. And I've been doing that over the last few weeks, and it's been so far, so good.
Okay, so for those who haven't seen Murad's presentation, although it certainly did go viral and everybody seemed to be talking about it, but what were what from it caught your attention? What did you agree with? What made you say, yeah, I do feel like meme coins are the meta right now?
I mean, there are a lot of really good points. I really recommend everyone goes and watches it. But I think probably the biggest takeaway for me was the comparison he made between meme coins and let's call them like VC coins. And that is like every other alt where it's like a new layer 1, layer 2, a game where a project has gone off, they've raised, millions and millions of dollars from VC funds or angel investors or whomever, and then they deploy a token. And the difference is that in that scenario, you have 50, 60, 70, 80% sometimes of the entire token supply locked up in the hands of the team, the investors, the advisors, and basically they just get unlocks for the next several years, and they're just constantly dumping on the market. And so with meme coins, you have the entire supply already out there. There's no unlocks. There's no, and a lot of these unlocks are often like hidden or shady. There's been a lot of controversy in the space lately about how projects that have like vesting will allow people to like investors to stake their vested tokens and then sell the rewards, even though they're technically meant to be locked up. And there's just generally a lot of like shady backroom stuff that happens with, I guess, most crypto tokens. Whereas with meme coins, obviously there's some obviously shady stuff happening in every element of the space, but at least the token supply is fully out there, and you can find ones where I would say they're less insidery than VC coins, and that to me was the biggest aha moment, because already I think throughout most of the year people were getting a bit tired and fed up of like all these new gaming tokens launching with low float, high FDV, and meme coins really is the market's response to that, I think, and I think more people are gonna come around to that idea.
Yeah, the hard thing for me is that I'm a fundamental investor, and a lot of our listeners are the same. We like to see the team behind the business. We like to see VC support in that project, right? Shows that you're able to raise capital. We like to see a roadmap and a website and product market fit, although most of the tokens that you're talking about don't necessarily have PMF yet. But so it's so difficult to get my head to a place where I say, yeah, I'm going to invest in something that has no fundamentals to it, basically, and is purely fundamentals. But then I think about NFTs in the last cycle.
Yeah.
And it's really the exact same thing. I was investing in NFTs in the last cycle, and sure, maybe some of them were launched by bigger names or bigger teams, but they also did not have any fundamentals behind their business. They just had a roadmap that they wrote down on a piece of paper. Do you find, I guess, let me ask this quick question. How's your portfolio looking as a whole right now? Have you gotten out of some of your, let's call them more like crypto business tokens, whether they be, L1s, L2s, or other gaming, and moved into meme coins? What's the allocation looking like as a whole?
Yeah, basically, yes. I've been selling out of all my alt bags. I've kept a couple. I think Tau is an AI coin, very bullish on. Prime is an AI gaming coin. But for the most part, I've sold out of all of the other ones, and I'm continuing to sell out of NFTs, and even selling a little bit of ETH and Sol, and getting more into memes. And I think that I think most listeners will be familiar with the barbell strategy, which is like you hold like the majors, the Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, and then you hold the things that are like the beta to that play. And I think meme coins are that this cycle. And so, maybe a month ago, the percentage of meme coins in my portfolio might have been like 2 to 3% worth. Now we're looking at 15% and probably pushing 20 soon. And part of that is me deploying more capital, but also is just like prices have gone kind of crazy in the last few weeks. And so maybe it was 10% and then now it's 15, 20 just because prices have gone up. But that's kind of how I'm thinking about it. And I mean, to go back to what you said before about being fundamental investors and wanting to look at a team and a roadmap and stuff. And I totally get that. And I think that makes sense for the long term and for certain types of tokens. But when we look at speculative mania, none of that really matters, is my perspective. And if you look at NFTs again, I think there are a lot of parallels, so it's good to make the comparison. The teams that had like VC funding and the biggest backers and great teams, they didn't do necessarily well. Like you look at Moonbirds, they had A16Z backing them. They had 50+ million of VC funding and they completely crashed and burned.
Yeah.
Apes were doing fantastic, and then they got VC investing, and then they kind of crashed and burned after that. So I don't necessarily think that those things are great for speculative assets. They're great for, if you're building an actual product with product market fit, then absolutely you want a great team. You want it to be well-funded. You want to know that they can fundraise and they can market and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is that the vast majority of the reason why a number goes up and why these prices appreciate is speculation, at least in the short and medium term. I think long-term, you see the cream does rise to the top. But for me, the long-term bets are Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, maybe one or two others. The short to medium-term bets, in the past, maybe I would have picked, picked a good exchange or like a decentralized exchange, or picked a good gaming token, or picked a good this, that, or the other. I just struggle to imagine them outperforming memes on the aggregate. And one of the other points from Murad's presentation was he looked at all of the returns year to date, or maybe the last couple of years, by sector, and he looked at gaming, he looked at AI, he looked at DPIN, he looked at RWA, he looked at L1s and L2s and memes, and by far memes had outperformed. And this was, during a pretty choppy up and down market. what's going to happen in a bull market. And I really do think that we're going to see memes outperform most other categories. But again, I don't think everyone should rush out and buy memes. It's not for everyone. Not everyone should have traded NFTs. But if you want to capitalize on, potentially, significant gains similar to NFTs of last cycle, this is where you should be looking, is in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you nailed it when you said speculative mania. And what's important to understand is where we are in this cycle. If you consider the start of this cycle being back November, December of 2023, I still think there's this feeling that we're midway through this cycle, not necessarily in time, but in price action. We have not yet entered the speculative mania. We've not yet entered the euphoric phase of a bull run. And during the euphoric phase, during speculative mania, is when you look for outsized returns. You make riskier bets in order to increase your probability of big payouts. And typically in the past, like the last cycle, a lot of that was NFTs or altcoins. It's always been, altcoins have always had their moment in the cycle, but this feels like the first cycle where, as kind of feels like a broken record, maybe it won't happen, or if it does happen, maybe just the gains aren't going to be as big as the potential in meme coins. So I think it is important to really understand where it fits into your portfolio and also where it fits into like the timing of these trades, because what you're saying is, and we're going to go into 3 specific tokens that you like and break them down, and we're going to talk about the timing of each. But basically what I'm hearing is, for you, meme coins is not a buy and hodl. This is a buy and watch it freaking closely and like have a plan and stick to that plan.
Absolutely. I mean, some you can buy and like maybe hold for a few months and just like watch the macro market. Some you want to watch every hour or every minute of the day, which is what makes it so difficult. Although now you can set like limit orders and kind of step away and set your price targets and do all that kind of stuff. But yes, these are not your buy and your DCA in and come back in 10 years type of things. I really treat them as, one of the mistakes I made last cycle was not selling nearly enough of my NFTs during that speculative bubble-ish top area. And I'm not going to time the top this time. No one can really time that, but I want to, take more profits and get closer to timing. Maybe if I sell in the top 20, 30% of the top of the bull market, I'd be really happy. And so everything I'm buying now, it's always with the view of selling pretty much in the next 6 to 12 months with regards to memes.
Okay. I want to take a look at 3 of the coins that you do like in this cycle, starting with, and we're going to do these in order of the time. So we're going to start with the shortest time frame trade, and we're going to move longer. Although, as we said, none of these are truly long-term trades.
Right. And I also added like an asterisk there saying that while it's short now, I think you should always be questioning your rationale and be open to changing it. So like I might decide that, yes, this was initially a short-term trade, but based on momentum and what I'm seeing, I might want to hold it longer term. And conversely, one of the longer term ones, if things start going awry, you want to be able to like have the open-mindedness to cut a bag, even if initially you bought it to hold for the long term. If things start going south and don't look as good to you anymore, maybe it turns into a shorter term place. So yeah.
Okay. First up, what's the first token that you're that you like?
It's called GOAT. Goatius Maximus. And when I first saw this, it's only about a week old, maybe less than a week. I first saw this, someone posted it in the Zen Academy Discord. I just immediately dismissed it just based on the ticker. Because I was like, another animal coin? I just can't do that. I'm not even going to bother looking into it. And that was massively to my loss. I think it was probably around 2 or 3 million market cap then. It's now sitting at around 250, 260 million market cap. So it's about 100x in that week. And basically, this is a token that is, it captures the animal narrative, obviously with GOAT. It captures the AI narrative. It captures the cult narrative. And the reason it captures the AI narrative is that basically there's this guy, AI researcher, LLM kind of guy, and he created this website called The Backrooms or something like that. And this was well before anything crypto or anything related like that. Maybe, I don't know exactly how long ago, a year or 2 ago, something like that. And he said, what would happen if we get a bunch of LLMs, AIs, just chatting to each other infinitely forever and just see what kind of conversations come up. And that's what he did. And then one of them did this thing called, I guess now it has a Twitter account called Truth Terminal, kind of, I guess, stood out. And Mark Andreessen of A16Z, one of the biggest VC funds in the world, in crypto certainly, I guess found out about it and was intrigued by it and started chatting to this chatbot and asking it questions of like, what would you do if you had some money? Or how do you, like, the chatbot was talking about all these plans, and Mark was like, well, what would you do if you had some money? And it outlined a bunch of things, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna fund you. And he ended up sending $50,000 in Bitcoin to this AI effectively. Now, obviously, the AI is not yet capable of creating its own crypto wallet and that kind of stuff. So the AI literally asked its owner, the guy who created the model, hey, can you set up a Bitcoin wallet for me? And they did it, and Mark sent them funds. I think the funds are basically still just sitting there, but that's like the genesis of this whole thing of how it became eventually this big meme in crypto. And then I think about 4 months later, it gets us to about a week ago, it's been tweeting all along. It just like has a Twitter account and just tweets all this random stuff. You should definitely go check it out. It's funny. And it just comes out and like, you know what, I found this meme coin and I'm going to support it. This is the coin that I like and I back. And that's the genesis of this meme coin, GOAT, and how it's gone from, you know, a few 100,000 market cap to 250 million in a week. Everyone just sort of caught onto it, loved the narrative. I love the narrative. I got in around 10 to 15 million market caps. My gains have been very good as well. I think of it as a short-term trade because it is so short, and I've already sold about half of my position. So I bought in about 15 million. I sold some at around 70, 80, some at around 120, and some at 150. We're now sitting at 250, 300. Nothing is financial advice. I still think it has some legs in it, and it can potentially go higher if the whole market holds up. I think the narrative is strong, but I'm watching it very closely and will be willing to sell relatively quickly if you know, another narrative pops up, if momentum shifts and jumps to something else. So yeah, that's the first one on my list.
Okay, so just to understand, so for somebody who's not in this already, you already got in, you already started to sell. What would be your recommendation for somebody who's not in this? You think you can still get in this and have gains?
I think you can, but it's risky. Obviously, it's risky at this point. It's gone up so much. Like my personal price target is around, I think it can hit $1 billion, which is obviously ambitious and lofty. And in the meme coin world, I mean, yes, it's a 4x from here, which is a great return. But in meme coins, it's not stupidly great. Like you can get 10 to 100x, and that's kind of what people chase all the time. But that's why I'm still holding a pretty significant bag, because I think there's still upside potential. So if someone does want to get in, I always recommend wait for a dip. Like, you know, these things retrace 50%, 30 to 70% all the time. You know, maybe the dip never comes and you miss out, but it's better than top blasting, buying the top and it's just going way down. So that's generally my advice, is wait for a dip if you want to get in.
What's interesting to me, and I had never thought about meme coins in this way, is you mentioned that this meme coin really catches the AI narrative. And this story, I almost want to do a separate podcast on this story with Mark Andreessen giving $50,000 to an AI agent. And then it's a wild story. But this story is probably the best story at capturing the AI narrative right now. And yesterday we had OSF on the show. And by the time you guys are listening to this, will be a few days ago. But this week we had OSF on the show, and he talked about Epic, which is the duck to a buck meme coin that his buddy Mando
I love that one
launched.
too, for what it's
yeah,
worth.
which is another interesting meme coin. But here was what he said about Duck, was he said they're going after the gaming narrative. And I was like, it's a meme coin. What do you mean they're going after the gaming narrative? He's like, it doesn't matter. Like, they are positioning themselves as gaming tokens aren't doing well. Like, we're the way to get involved in crypto gaming, even though it's a meme coin and even though they're doing absolutely nothing in gaming. And I think we can't lose sight of, again, speculative mania, your fork period. It doesn't matter what the fundamentals. It just matters what the narrative. If everybody is like, oh, AI, and this is the token that has AI, even if it's not doing anything in AI, then that's what's going to go. And I think, you make a good point on the potential of GOAT. Okay. Any final thoughts on GOAT before we go to the next one?
I'll just a quick note on like derivatives, because we've seen a ton of other, like usually what happens is an AI, there's a new narrative that forms around a meme coin or a token, and then people spin up like 1,000 derivatives. There's other chatbots on Twitter creating their accounts and launching tokens, and people are making like a dog AI token. And I think that my general rule with derivatives is that you can make money on them and trade them, but it's always like much more short term, way higher risk. A lot of them are like insider pump and dump jobs. Like one of the nice things about this Go token was it was pretty organic. Like there was no cabal behind it pumping it up. It was just like it just spread through, like the word just spread throughout Twitter and group chats, and everyone was like, hey, check this out. This cool Twitter LLM just tweeted this thing and they supported, and like, I'm going to buy some and I'm going to buy some. Versus afterwards, now all these insiders get together and like, you know what, let's create this new coin and pay these KOLs a bunch of money, and then they'll pump it up. And like, that's the kind of stuff you want to be wary of, because obviously meme coins are crazy risky. And yeah, so like, be careful with derivatives is just what I'll say. I own some, so like you can gamble on them, but it's playing with fire even more so.
How often are you watching these? Like, I feel like
I have the chart. I have the literally on the other, like,
you have, okay.
This. I'm just always watching them. Like
You're always watching.
Not good for your mental health. It's just you really have to be locked in and 24/7 clued in. Like you can set sell orders and limit orders and do all that kind of stuff. But personally, my strategy is like when I'm trading meme coins and like really, I'm just always like, I feel like I'm tapped into the market, whereas like you just have to be connected, because it's just constant information flow, like how things are moving, and you just get a better feel for it, but like osmosis almost.
Which you know, I gotta say, you know, you're on this show every few weeks, and this is a bullish statement right now coming from Zeneca, because the most of the summer you've been touching grass and you've been getting away from the computer, and to know that you are feeling more like locked in, that right there tells me that you are feeling the vibe, which you are one of the best at feeling the vibe in the space. So that's saying a lot. Okay, let's go to your next token. Zyn. Tell us about Zyn.
Do you know what Zyn is?
Like the chewing tobacco Zyn? Like
exactly.
The real Zyn?
Yes. So that's basically what this meme is backed on. It's based around the prevalence of Zyn, the chewing tobacco, amongst like Gen Z Zoomers. And apparently it's like massively popular amongst that generation. People love it. And someone created a coin out of it. And now the reason this is, I consider this more of a medium-term play, is if you can, I don't know the time frame you can look at this chart at, but if you can zoom out and look at it over, like, it's been around for, I think, a year, perhaps more. Maybe it's not on CoinGecko, but
oh yeah, it's been around since.
It's been around for a while, and
only 6 months since March. Only 6 months
since March. Okay, so yeah, I think that might be right. So it obviously had a meteoric run up. March was the last sort of like meme coin season, and then a massive correction, 70, 80, 90%. But you can kind of see it like bottomed a few different times, and it bounced off this kind of like support level, which whenever you see a chart like that, and the community is still around, and it still has like a reasonable number of reasonably high market cap, that to me is generally a relatively bullish signal and sentiment, and I think that indicates that like a real community, or call it even a cult, is forming around it. And basically, I think that has formed here. I've been bullish on this coin since maybe like when it was about a third of this market cap a few weeks ago. I think that it does play well into that Zoomer narrative. A lot of people just consume Zyn, they talk to their friends about it, they chat about it, and like as more people get into meme coins, oh, there's a Zyn meme coin, that I can just see that being something that appeals to people. There's this like catch line, Zyn to a tin, like a tin of Zyn is worth like $6. Like people are just, you know, memeing that into existence, and I don't really think it'll necessarily get there, but you know, it doesn't have to get to $6 to be a great return. It can get to 60 cents and still be a 10x from here, or so yeah, this one I'm holding, I guess, medium term. I think this one will do well if the whole thesis of meme coins being the NFTs of this cycle comes true. If we get there's a lot of ifs here, but if the crypto bull market continues and we don't just get some World War III Black Swan catastrophic event, there's always risks. But all these are predicated on the market relatively holding up. Bitcoin hits 100K, 120K, et cetera, et cetera. I think this is one of the ones that can do well and has less downside risk. Like one of the things with meme coins is that you buy some random new meme coin launched yesterday, you're 99.99% it's going to go to zero. Whereas you look at a chart like this, it's been around for 6 months, it's gone down low and bounced off that support a few different times. You have a little bit of downside risk mitigated. Not all of it, obviously, but to me that makes it a bit of a better hold to put in with a bit more size, which I have.
Yeah. And to be clear, Zyn, this one has absolutely nothing to do with Zyn, the product.
Correct.
This is a meme coin. Go ahead.
But they were served with like a trademark or copyright infringement from the actual Zyn company, and they beat it. I don't know. The founder of this coin fought back and was like, it's a parody. Or I didn't read the actual case. I don't know how they beat it, but basically they got away with it, and they're allowed to still market it as ZynCoin. So that's potentially one of the only risks you can have with something like this. So that's something. And just to prove that there was a person or a community willing to fight back against that and not just throw up their hands and be like, oh, you know what, it was a good run, we're done with it, move on to the next coin. To me, that again proves some sort of whatever resilience within a community that to me is bullish for speculative price action.
Yeah, the thing I like about Zyn, and I don't hold any, but it is probably one of the biggest memes in America in a segment of America that is the perfect segment to ape into crypto.
Yeah.
Like if they're not already here, they're going to be coming. When Bitcoin hits 100K, they're going to come and they're going to say, I'm not buying Bitcoin, it's too expensive. And they're going to look for something cheap and they're going to be like, I fucking love Zyn, and they're going to buy Zyn.
So they go on their phone, they pull up the Moonshot app and they can buy it in a few minutes. It's just like, it's all, to me, the cards are lining up.
Yeah. Talk to us about the Zyn trade. What are any price targets? How would you, if you were getting into it now, how would you set that up?
Yeah, I would look at kind of all-time high, which I think is about like 3x from where we are right now. With most meme coins,
3x.
With most meme coins, I like to sell on the way up and like set pretty take profit targets. It's pretty consistent take profit targets because I think that they are so risky and things can just anything can happen and they can just crash 80%, 90%. And so I will be looking to take profit off the table when it hits, maybe not all-time high. If it's like a 2x from here, because I got in earlier, I'd be pretty content taking maybe half my bag off the table. But I do think this is one. So if we look at market cap, this is one of the better ways to look at meme coins is by market cap. It's at 50 million. GOAT, for instance, is 250 million. It's 5x that, and it's been around 5 days, whereas this has been around 6 months. I think, in a true bull market, we'll get a lot of memes in the 500 million to 1 billion range. And so this could quite realistically 10x from here. So I will keep a pretty healthy bag up until, that 500 million to 1 billion mark. And then I'll probably sell most of it there, potentially keeping a little more. Again, it's something you always want to keep an eye on it and just see how things are trending. And one of the things that most people recommend, including myself, is keeping what we call a moon bag, where you maybe sell 95% of it. But if you've been bullish on something for a while and hold it, you just want to keep a little bit just in case it does a 1000x and you don't hate yourself for selling all of it.
Okay, awesome. Okay, let's shift over to your last meme coin of the day. Tell us about Bitcoin.
The actual name is Harry Potter Obama Sonic 10 Inu, and it is just a schizo manic crazy coin. The ticker is literally capital BITCOIN Bitcoin, and this is a meme I've loved. I bought this on this chart. It was launched in kind of early 2023. I was buying it then. I bought it probably within the first week of launching. I sold it and then rebought it and sold it and rebought it. So unfortunately, I didn't have that long-term conviction. But I just think it's a funny meme. It actually predates crypto and Twitter. This is a meme that was on the internet well before. You can find Google search. You'll find images of people wearing these backpacks from 10 years ago with this whole meme on it. The community is very cultish. And I think one of it's all speculative. It's all narrative driven. And if you have a strong community pushing it, one of the key points Murad made was in comparing them to NFTs is NFTs, you have, 10,000 NFTs, maybe 3,000 holders. So you have 3,000 people marketing for 10,000 NFTs. With meme coins, you can have 100,000 holders marketing one coin. And so the bigger it is, the more people that are buying into it, believing in the vision and the cult and the future and the mania, just the better. And this is a coin that's been around, again, for a long time, a year and a half, probably coming up to 2 years soon. It has been through a lot again. Like, you can look, it's had so many big drawdowns, but it hasn't gone anywhere. And I think that, yeah, the ticker is good, the narrative is good, the meme is good. They have an NFT collection called Proto Gremlins, which they launched again in like early 2023. They're at like 4 ETH last I checked. They've gone from like half an ETH to 4 ETH, and like you see the PFPs on Twitter all the time. And I don't know, I think they've hit that escape velocity. So this to me is probably out of the three mentioned, my longest hold in terms of, I think this is one that will pretty closely track the crypto cycle. So when the crypto market tops, this will probably roughly top, and I'll be looking to sell. But I think that as long as crypto is being bullish, this will be very bullish. Versus the other two, I think have a bit more risk.
And what's your price target for this when you look at the market cap? The other thing that stands out for me when we look at this chart, and quite honestly, we look at all three, is that they're up so big in the last 30 days.
Yeah.
This one's up 270% in the last 30 days. Does that, and it is hitting it's at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Does that scare you? Does that say, I'm too late?
It's definitely reason to not just ape in blindly and just like buy right now. I think similar to what I said before is like, wait for a dip. There's always significant retracements. If you want to get in, you can almost take a DCA approach. If you want exposure to meme coins, you have no exposure, and you want, like, say 2% or 5% of your portfolio, don't just take it all and top blast into one coin right now. Find a few that you have conviction in and buy a little bit over the next short period. It's always it's definitely scary buying when something's at an all-time high. But I always go back to NFTs in 2021 and 2022 when there were so many instances where if you just, Bored Apes are at 5 ETH, I'm not going to buy that. Cool Cats they've hit 2 ETH now. You miss out on tremendous gains. Like, things can get absolutely ridiculous and stupid in a bull market. And I think that if that's where we're headed, which I do think we are, there's always a 10-15% chance that we're not. I think I was on the show a month or two ago and I said, maybe there's 20-25% chance we're not, that the percentage is lower. I'm getting more bullish now based on everything that we're seeing. But there's still a chance that, we don't get some crazy bull mania in the next 6 months. And then all these fall 95%. So yes, always be cautious, top blasting, buying the absolute all-time high. But don't dismiss it out of hand and use that as a reason not to buy in. Yeah.
What do you think your price targets are for
this? I think
Bitcoin.
It depends on. My price target for Bitcoin.
No, I'm
ticker
talking.
Yeah. Everyone calls it ticker Bitcoin versus regular Bitcoin because otherwise it's crazy.
Otherwise,
confusing.
No idea what you're saying.
For ticker Bitcoin, I think it could hit a few billion. Again, which is 10x from here, 15x. It all depends on the wider crypto market, but if everything plays out and memes are the NFTs of this cycle, I would not want to be selling this lower than $1 billion or $2 billion.
Okay. Zeneca, this has been a fantastic show, fascinating, and very insightful. I think so many takeaways, and for our audience, whether you're going to get the meme coins, whether you're going to get any meme coins, look, none of this is financial advice, obviously, but I think the most important thing is to really think about where you are taking your riskier bets. Where are you putting that, like 5 to 20% of your portfolio, that range? Where are you taking those bets and looking at, as Zeneca said, if meme coins are the meta, then this could really go. The tough thing with meme coins, I just find, Zen, and maybe this is why you're presenting meme coins that have a slightly bigger market cap, although Zen is still pretty small, is there's just like, how many meme coins launch a day? 1,000?
Thousands, tens of thousands, infinite. That's why I think the best and safest, quote unquote, safest play is to look at established tokens and just buy them. Yes, they're at higher market caps. Yes, they've pumped a lot. But if again, it's all predicated on if we get this thesis playing out of meme coins being the NFTs of this cycle, they'll still do very, very well for me. They'll outperform almost anything. You look at like Murad's because he's got like a top 10 list. You look at, you can find your own charts. Look at things like that have that Zyn chart where they've bounced off a bottom a few times. Community's been around for 6 months, 12 months. It's a lot, quote unquote, safer than buying some random thing that launched 2 hours ago on pump.fund, which is almost certainly gone to zero.
Yeah. Fantastic. Zen, thanks so much for joining us today. We'll definitely keep everybody up to date. Everybody listening in, I want to know which meme coins you're bullish on. Which ones are you in? Which ones are you thinking about getting in? Let us know. We'll break those down in future episodes. Thanks so much as always. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe before we hit 10K to win some free stuff. And that's a wrap. Have a wicked awesome day, everybody. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your #1 resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note. This show is for educational purposes only, and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.